Hey guys, Drogs here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the science behind when exactly behemoths will spawn in Battlefield 1 Conquest. It's an interesting question to me because it's one of those things everyone's got a rough idea of when and how they will spawn in, but no one was exactly really sure that I could see, or at least I haven't been able to find a clear answer, so I decided to take this on myself and see if I could puzzle it out. So for our purposes here, I'm going to go ahead and assume that most of you guys already know what behemoths are, you know, what they do, what they're capable of, and I don't need to go into the specifics of how to use them for you guys. Instead, we're going to be looking just at what exactly brings them onto the battlefield for use for the losing team. So to figure this out, I figured the best way to do so would be to simply play a whole lot of Conquest and make notes of the exact times when behemoths spawned in, when they actually deployed on the battlefield, and see if I could find a pattern in all of that. As it turns out, I can confirm that it's definitely not random and that there is a very clear pattern to how and when behemoths will spawn in this game. Before I move into my results and methodology, I'd just like to point out that all the data that I took was post in the name of the Czar. So it's all very current as of the posting of this video, but keep in mind that the developers change things up frequently, so this may not hold up forever, so just keep that in mind. The key thing that I was tracking was the behemoth notifications, specifically the behemoth en route. This is your main indicator that the conditions have been met for a behemoth to spawn in a Conquest match. Plotting the data from 21 instances of behemoth spawns, I was able to find a very clear pattern here. That's a straight line. Any deviation you see right there, that is almost certainly my error. If you're watching this video on your phone or you're otherwise not able to really see what this is showing, just check the video description. I have a link to the images you'll be seeing in this video posted in there. For now, all that you really need to know is that the y-axis is showing the winning team tickets or points, while the x-axis is showing the losing team's tickets. The main thing you guys probably noticed right out of the gate is that the ticket margin actually closes as the game goes on. The widest margin I had was 254 points in a match that became lopsided very early on, while the narrowest I had was 100 points. That was a match that went down to the wire and the behemoth barely got onto the field before the match ended. Everything else fell in between. You can also see I added a couple thin lines here to kind of push it to the theoretical limits of where these things would begin and end. I would imagine that the earliest possible behemoth would be at 300 to 0, although you're almost certainly never going to see that. Something else that I took a look at was the time to deploy. And as you'll see here, you get two notifications with each behemoth. You get the en route, and then sometime later you're going to get the notification that says the behemoth has deployed. Unlike the en route notification, the deployment time actually does vary pretty widely from map to map and even team to team. I've had it as short as 15 seconds for the Char 2C super tank on the They Shall Not Pass maps, and I've had it as long as a minute and 17 seconds for the armored train on Brusilov Keep. With that said, it should remain pretty consistent for that one team on that one map. I had 3 instances of Dreadnoughts spawning for Germany on Albion, and every single time it took 44 seconds from the en route notification to the deployment notification, at which point the Dreadnought was able to be used. One more thing before we start wrapping things up here. I unfortunately didn't get any data for the infantry maps where you get elite kits instead of behemoths. However, I would estimate that they're going to appear at the exact same time, give or take, that the behemoth would otherwise spawn in terms of the ticket score. So looking at this data and this pattern, it brings to mind another question that people like to talk about. What exactly are behemoths for? Now, they're advertised as a way for a losing team to close the score gap, get back into the match, but in reality, you can see the margins that you need for a behemoth to appear and the capabilities of behemoths, they just don't quite make the difference. They're not that good at capturing objectives. They're not that good at driving off enemies. It just isn't something that they can do. Rather, I believe that this evidence basically proves that Behemoths are really just a way to give an incentive to a losing team so that the players from that team don't start just dropping out en masse, and the second half or last third of the game is played, 32 people against 20 or something like that. With that, I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about, so hopefully you found this informative or interesting. If you have anything you'd like to add or any questions, just leave a comment down below. Other than that, well, thanks for watching.